We got the Dallas Cowboys versus Cincinnati Bengals. Fantasy football starters are as follows. Actually, Dallas quarterback you can start, assuming that's Andy Dalton. Again, we haven't seen how the Tuesday shit.
We'll see if he survives.
We'll see if he survives literally against Baltimore. He's a start. Honestly, if it goes to, Ben DiNucci or Gilbert or whoever, I wouldn't start him. Dalton, I'd feel okay starting, and I say that with a grain of salt because David and I were really high on Dalton coming out. He is playing better, so he's justifying that, but it was... The Monday Night Football optics were so bad I literally did not air the segment after our love affair, so nobody even saw it. I put it on ice. If you want to listen,
record, I wanted it aired.
I couldn't in good conscience air that after seeing what I saw and I blame the offensive line more than I blame Dalton, but he looked like, oh my gosh, it was sad. I think Dalton was like crying on the sideline because the offensive line was Swiss cheese. It was bad.
Sean didn't want to give bad advice. He had to put that one on ice. We didn't want to push anyone.
I didn't want to push him after that. Like, I felt bad about it. But if you want to listen to how bad it was, you can find it on the podcast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, just click the link. I have a link to the podcast. Go back to whatever that first start was for Dalton on Monday Night Football. It was brutal. It was against Arizona, actually. Anyway, so quarterback, I think you can start. I think you could start Zeke. I'm watching this scenario, though. Little dynasty teaser. David and I were talking about contractual situation. Are they giving Pollard more of a look? I looked at it, David. It is financially not feasible for Dallas. They literally cannot waive.
Next year.
In 2021, they can't.
They cannot.
They cannot.
The year after, it's fair game.
It is. So So I mean, it's a longer game with Pollard. It's not a 2021. It's a 2022 type thing. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. Wide receiver Cooper, I'm okay with. I'm sitting Gallup. I am okay with CD Lamb, and I like Dalton Schultz this week. Now Cincinnati, Brandon Allen to me doesn't. Look, I do think Burrow's better, don't get me wrong, but Brandon Allen can do some stuff with this offense. I think he's okay in this matchup. However, it's Boyd or bust for me. Well, I shouldn't say that because I do like Higgins. So I like Boyd and Higgins. And then at running back, you can start a running back, but it really worries me to start any Bengals running back. I don't like how the system goes. They throw the ball too much, even, with their third-string quarterback or whoever it is. What do you think, David?
I've soured on both of these teams, but in this matchup, I ain't sour at all. I'm ready to start everybody across the board just because we're talking about two bad defenses matching up. It's just it's the perfect scenario for fireworks for two offensives that have been struggling but have good players to finally have that kind of ceiling game, to have that quarterback play to allow those other good players to perform. And Andy Dalton, he's got the revenge game going for him. This is his former team.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. This is the team that let him go, the team that benched him arguably unfairly last year, way too early, before they even had a win, when he wasn't even playing that bad of football. So he's got something to prove to this team. He's got a little bit of a message to send. I like Ezekiel Elliott in this matchup. After this, guys, I mean, I don't know about that, but in this matchup, you got to start him. Basically, every wide receiver not named Michael Gallup, talk about Cooper, CD, you got to start them. Dalton Schultz, I love him this week. Talked about the floor. 7.4 PPR points in 8 out of 10 games since week 1. So he's got the floor. He could kind of scratch at the ceiling a little bit this week. He's a good tight end start if you're in trouble and need someone to get you through the first round of the playoffs. Then the other side, I like Boyd. Even though he only had, I believe, 1 catch, it was a long touchdown.
He got ejected early as well, but yeah, you're right.
Yes, but a good matchup this week against Dallas. I like Higgins, and I even like Gio Bernard. I'm not starting Brandon Allen, but I do think Gio Bernard could be a decent start as well this week.
I do have for Gio Bernard, I do have a nice projection on him. It just makes me nervous. That's all. Bovada, the line is Dallas -5.5 on the road versus Cincinnati. Who you got?
That's tough. I think I'm going to take Dallas in the revenge game narrative here, just because I trust that backup a little bit more than I trust what Brandon Allen's doing right now.
Since that Pittsburgh game the week before their bye week, Dallas's defense is actually playing a lot better. Their offensive line, has actually learned how to block again. These backup offensive linemen that Dallas has starting, kind of across the board. I am going to take Dallas. This assumes, of course, that everybody's relatively healthy. I mean, we can't, at this point, in the podcast, we can't wait for these games, these delayed games to be played to do the podcast. We just got to get this stuff out there. So assuming everybody's healthy on Dallas, no big injuries or anything like that, I'll take Dallas as well. Next